Hi everybody, my name is Braden. Today we're going to be going over a few tips that you should be doing whilst you're sat at your desk. I want to answer a few questions like why does my back hurt while I'm sitting, or why am I getting such tight traps after a long day at work? Well, let's get straight into it. Okay, we're at our desk. Ignore this big screen here, this is the one I use for my clinic, but for today's purpose, this is going to be your laptop or your work screen, your monitor at work. So let's start with us first. First of all, our elbows are lower than the keyboard, which means we're going to have to be typing up like this all day. So people that struggle with what might be carpal tunnel syndrome, it could be that the elbows are too low and the wrists are having to work extra hard at keeping these hands up while you type. So let's change that. Let's hide the chair so that the wrist can stay nice and flat while we're typing. Then let's look at our posture. How are we sat? Are we sat nice and far back into the chair and we're pouting our chest, or are we slumping in the chair and everything's coming forward like this? If this is you, stop it now. What I want you to do, sit back into the chair. Get the bottom of your back right into the bottom of this chair, right into the bottom, then use the arch in this chair to guide your spine. This is naturally going to make us pout the chest, which is where we want the spine to be sat. I'll tell you why in a second. The next thing I want you to look at is the position of your monitor. Now you can see here that if this was a laptop, I'd be looking down at it all day. The keyboard is exactly where I want it to be. I'm nice and close, I'm not having to stretch forward. The keyboard is nice and in line, but the monitor is in the wrong position. So let's get this monitor a little bit higher. There we go, that's much better. So I've used my printer and some books here, but you can get proper stands to hold monitors or laptops, laptop holders that hold it at a funny angle but nice and high. The thing of it is, you want to sort you out first, and then the tools that you use need to accommodate your body posture. So I've moved the monitor, the keyboard is where I want it to be, the mouse is nice and close. I'm not having to stretch for anything. So if I was left-handed, the mouse would be here, the keyboard would be here, and a little bit of movement would go on like this. I'm not having to use the mouse that's over here, and the keyboard isn't over here. The keyboard's not here, and I'm twisting all day to look at the monitor. If you're twisting all day looking at a monitor like this, and you ask me why your neck hurts, this will be the first thing I'll change. So we're sat in a better position now, the bum is further back, and the keyboard's in the position that we want, the monitor is in the position we want, and the mouse is here. Now the reason I say it's so important that we rely on the spine and that we rest on the spine instead of using our muscles, because firstly we need to know that the muscles at the back, yes, their primary role is extension, okay, they pull us back. But second to that, how I like to approach it, is that they also stop us falling forward. So if we break from the bone, so we're not resting on bone anymore, we're breaking from that with this poor posture, with this rounded back, we're relying on these muscles on the back to stop us falling forward all day. So really we need to give these muscles a break. These muscles will get tight because they say, okay, Brad wants to lean forward all day, so to do that in the most energy efficient way, we're going to get really tight, and it stops burning energy that way. So when these muscles become tight and solidified, because that's what I've told them that I want them to do, that becomes symptomatic. Then that gives me this tight shoulders, that gives me this tight back. So pout the chest and rest on the spine. We want to tuck the chin back so the head isn't forward. A good rule of thumb, if anyone can see the side of you, is ear needs to be over shoulder. So pop that ear over your shoulder. Okay? A bonus tip with all this as well is that you should be able to touch the floor. If you can't touch the floor, with everything else being set, you're at the right height for the desk that you've got, right height for your keyboard, right height for your monitor, you need to get something to put your feet on. So that some companies do supply these for you, others might not, so a couple of books might do the job. You should be able to rest your feet flat on the floor. So that's how we're going to safely sit. Now let's look at what we need to do during the workday to stretch and move around. Okay, so we've been sat for a few hours now, and we want to just have a little bit of a move around, make our body feel fresh again. First thing I'd ask you to do, just stand up. Simply standing up is going to release these hip flexors, it's going to release the back, it's just going to make everything feel a little bit looser. While we are stood up, try contracting the glute muscles. So maybe knock one leg back, squeeze the glute, 3 seconds, and then the other leg. 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 3. So here what we're doing is we're contracting the muscles that have been relaxed and lengthened for the past few hours. So we're standing up, we're contracting these glutes, and it's going to help them fire up. The biggest problem I see with lower back pain when people come to my clinic is that the glutes just are inactive. They don't know how to work anymore. So we need to teach them how to work again. The next thing we might want to do is do a little bit of a twist. So let's get some rotation in there. So when we twist around like this, we can cheat and the shoulders do most of the movement for us. So I want us to take the shoulders out of the equation. We can do that by popping the hand right under the armpit on both sides, giving those a little squeeze down. When we do this, we can rotate right from the lower back. My feet are flat on the floor, and I'm pushing from the lower back to twist. And as soon as my upper back starts to twist, I can then twist my head as well. We want to maybe hold this for about 3-5 seconds and then try the other side. Or you might find it even nicer just to rock between it. Either's fine, see what works best for you. That's going to create a little bit of rotational mobility in your spine. The next thing is for you people with these tight traps. So if you're one of those people that struggles with tight traps, this is a nice stretch for you. So we're going to hold on to the side of our chair. We're going to lean away. And with this, we're trying to stay as straight as possible. I'm not twisting, I'm not leaning back or forward. I'm acting like I've got 2 planes of glass, one in front of me, one behind me, so I can't bend forward or back. I'm hanging onto the side of the chair, I'm leaning away so that creates a stretch this way. And once I've leaned away, I can then tilt my head to the side. I should feel a nice stretch down my trap here. If that's fine, it's not quite enough, fingertips. Not whole hand. Fingertips on the side of your head and give it a nice little bit of encouragement. Well, I'm not ripping my head to the other side. Be careful with this, guys. You should feel that nice deep stretch there. We can also take the head forward. So bring the head forward. This will get sort of mid to upper trap, and we want to pull that forward again with just fingertips. Have a play where you hold your chair, because that will put the stretch onto a different part of your trap, or you might feel it in a different position. Not everybody's the same, so saying that this stretch will work for you if you hold exactly here is wrong. You need to move around till it works for you. So for some people, you might hold the back of your chair, rock to the side, come forward and like this. I know I like to hold a bit further front, go to the side and come forward. That's because the certain part of my trap is tight, so that's the way that I do the stretch. And this is something you can do on both sides. You want to hold the stretch for around 10 to 30 seconds, maybe do it 2 or 3 times as well. The biggest cause of lower back pain that I see in my clinic from people that sit all day is that their hip flexors become tight or short. So the hip flexors attach to the anterior portion of your spine, just to the front here, and then to the inside of your leg on this bony protrusion just here. So they'd come down across your pelvis and down to here. So if we're sat in a hip flexion all day, this muscle that attaches here, the psoas, is going to get short and tight, so that when we straighten this leg out, the hip flexor is going to pull the lower back forward, and that's going to encourage more lordosis in the spine, so it's going to encourage a greater angle. This is just going to put pressure on the lower back, and this is one reason that people get anterior pelvic tilt or lower cross syndrome. So standing up and doing the glute squeeze that we did earlier is a great way to turn the glutes back on, which is the opposite of what the psoas muscle or the hip flexors do, and it's going to encourage a bit more spinal stability. So the last thing I want to tell you guys is about the chest. So if the chest is facing down, the whole body is going to follow. So what I want people to do, if they're going to take anything from this video, is part their chest. Part their chest and try to bring your shoulder blades together, okay? So it's not shoulders back, head up, because that's just uncomfortable. If we just part the chest, we put the spine into its neutral position, the shoulders will follow. So if we're in a more neutral spine, everything should calm down a little bit, and it should eventually become a little bit more comfortable for you. Well, there we have it, guys. There's a few tips for you on how to sit at your desk, and a few stretches along with that as well. Thank you so much for watching. If you've made it this far, please share this video to anyone that you know that is struggling with back pain, or if they sit all day, then they should be sitting a little bit different. Please like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you all on the next video.